Now. All right, you are watching the second roundtable Willow Creek Springs rep conference call. And conference calls around here, they start on time. And the rules of engagement are if you're on and you call in after the time that we start, just say your name and then put your phone on mute. And then the way that we do it is if you want to talk and you have a question or a comment or whatnot, just say your name first and pause. Then I'll call your name and then you can respond. And that way we don't have people tripping over each other. Obviously, you guys are going to find out that everybody tries to call in late. I'm getting bombarded with text messages right now. People don't realize that it's now. And I'm doing everything I possibly can to make it easy. But at the same time, I only have so much time to do this. So we're going to just move forward. And let me answer this one text message, and then we'll begin. I like to begin these by doing a simple roll call. And we'll go around one time, and then we'll begin questions. I have a good half an hour that I can dedicate to this. If there's something really important, I can go longer, but I have an appointment that wants to come at about 1:30, and I can put them off for a little while if need be, but I try to be punctual with things. So let's go ahead and go around the table and just say your name once and then pause. The next person, say your name. If two people start talking at the same time, just, it works itself out. Obviously, I'm here. This is Joe Grumbine. Connie? Hi, Connie.
Hi. Karen.
Karen Ford. Okay, good to have you.
Hi. Dana DeBose.
Hello, Dana.
Hi, Jack.
Mike.
Sarah.
And Sarah. Excellent.
And Alexi.
Hello, Alexi.
Hi.
Fantastic. Okay, the purpose of these calls are twofold. One of the purposes is obviously for me to be able to answer questions. I'm trying really hard to make the information as we're growing available to everybody at the same time. But there's been a lot of progress made on a lot of fronts, and we've got over 80 people involved now, and they're spread across the country and even in other countries. So it's not an easy thing to do. So I'm trying to do it in layers so that if you're not able to do one thing, maybe you'll be able to do another. And these conference calls are a way just to, be able to show up and ask anything you want about the company or the products or policies or anything that's going on, and get it right from the source. The second is, as we have a lot of new people that have been around for less than 6 months, and I really like to see that the new people are able to just get a sense of the core of the company and the people involved, and realize that this is, a real sort of a family environment, even though we're trying to make it be as productive and professional of a company as we can. So that's kind of the reason that we're doing this, and I'll do it about every couple of weeks, and we'll figure out the best time. It was suggested that weekend is better than weekdays, so obviously my goal is to be there for as many people as I can. So we may rotate back and forth. We may do a weekend and then a weekday. And I may do it more often if it's valuable, but only, again, my purpose of this is to be a valuable resource. There's plenty of time for chit-chatting anytime, but this is really just to be a resource. So the way that I like to do it is just to keep it really simple. If you have a question, just state your name and then pause, and we'll go to everybody in the order that you call out. my goal is to keep this to about a half an hour, but I'm not going to cut anybody off. So if you have a question and we're getting to the end of time, don't worry, we'll make time for you. So let's just go ahead and open up the floor. Any questions that we have right off the bat? Otherwise, I'll start yapping.
Mike.
All right, go ahead, Mike.
Joe, we're kind of using the universal product code to advertise, does that, when we scan them type of products or have them done that way, that takes them all the way back to what match it came from and everything, individually bottled, right?
Okay, so what I'm doing right now regarding the UPC codes, I have purchased 100 codes, and they're registered through the GS1 registry. And what that does is it has a unique company identifier, so that Willow Creek Springs, the manufacturer, and it'll have built into it whatever information I put into it, as far as I know. I've gotten as far as to register my company and purchase 100 codes. I have not begun creating the codes yet, so I'm kind of learning as I'm going, to be honest. But I believe that you're correct, that all that information I can embed into the code, and that is, of course, my goal.
Yeah, nobody, I don't think anybody else has that yet, and so we like to ride that horse a lot. Like, we're coming up well, you know what I mean? Like, the company that we work for is, making changes.
Absolutely.
Industry.
Yeah, and that's, again, my goal as we're growing the company is to be on the cutting edge and to be as forward as we can with technology and with accountability and transparency and all of those things. And, there are challenges to it, but again, I'm trying to set our practices apart from a lot of the fly-by-night companies, and just, it's really for good practices. If you're keeping track of products, it's obviously the best way to do it, because there's software that's already designed to manage it this way. So I'm trying to make it to where, as any of our reps or white label clients or distributors is managing more and more, that it's not more difficult, but rather easier. And as we're getting more and more products, more and more different SKU numbers, I want it to not be too complicated, as we're moving forward. Now, we're going to be continuing to release a lot of products until probably about November, and then we're going to evaluate the sales of products, and then by the beginning, just before Christmas, we're going to pull probably close to a third of the products offline, and they'll be available by batches only. It doesn't make any sense for us, as we're working with all natural ingredients, to store a bunch of things that aren't moving. And in my opinion, there isn't any of these products that are significantly better or worse than another. They're just different products, and different things are better for different people. But the biggest difference is some people know them, others don't. But if they're not moving, there's no sense in me keeping them stock. Now, that being said, when we make that change and products are available by batches only, the communication between reps is going to become much more important, because a group of reps can get together and order a batch. And all you guys have to do is have a way to communicate that and we may end up putting up some kind of a forum or some way that we can put a bulletin board that says, hey, there's 2 reps trying to build a batch of whatever, insert product name, who wants to buy in on it? And everybody can decide, oh yeah, I like that. And we'll make the batch and ship it out. It doesn't have to be one person per batch. It's just, I'm not going to keep those products in stock unless they're selling, if that makes sense.
No, it does. Maybe you could make a place where everybody's information is on there, so that we could just contact them and say, hey, are you guys going to be needing any of this stuff pretty soon? Because we're looking to order a batch. We're kind of looking for somebody to cooperate with us on that.
Yeah, I think probably what we'll do with regards to that, I will make it available for the reps that want to be shared their information, but I'm certainly not ever going to share anybody's information without them wanting it. But what I can do for sure is including in the newsletters. Anytime somebody says, "Hey, I'm interested in a batch of this," and I can put it up there and a way to contact, I'll make it as user friendly as I can. And I'm still learning the best way to do that with regards to the people and these different forms of communication.
Yeah, we think you've been doing a great job with everything you've been doing with your company, Joe. We preach you all the time. We think the products come out of California anyway.
Well, we're trying like hell, that's for sure. All right. Anybody else have a question?
Hi, Karen.
Hello, Karen.
Hi. Well, first, I'm glad you mentioned that you posted a newsletter, which is what I was thinking of someone just, being able to put it out there. And then if anyone else is interested, they can contact you. And then from there, we can see if we can communicate with each other regarding custom batches. The other question I had, which regarding, I'm a little confused on some of these new laws when it comes to eating the CBD or consumption of it. Now that they put a new restriction, I guess we're okay with topical, but like for instance, anything that you ingest, is that going to affect us in a way that's going to restrict the current areas?
Well, here's the deal, and I've said this before, and I'll continue to say this. It's very important that we are paying attention to this message. There is nothing inherently legal or illegal about CBD. It is interpretation of different things. The federal government technically still considers CBD illegal. And so the California has come up with some certain things, but that doesn't necessarily apply to any other state. Every state's got its own jurisdiction. The way I see it, as I have always seen it, is this is good and viable medicine. And I'm not claiming to anybody that what we're doing is 100% legal. I wish it was. I have a nonprofit that works really hard to end prohibition. I hope everybody helps start to support it. Many of you guys do. But at the end of the day, until we end prohibition, it's going to continue to be illegal on some form. And there's a chance that any of us could find ourselves in some kind of complication. I've been through this, spent 6 years battling the government, and I don't want to battle them anymore. But there's not any fail-safe. There's not anything I can tell you. And I don't want to mislead you into thinking that there's no way in hell anything could ever go wrong. I have not yet heard of anybody having anything criminally attached to any CBD issue. I've heard of in some states there being raids on shops that are carrying CBDs, but they're not arresting people. They're just taking their product. And as far as I know, again, anything I say could be based on partial information, but as far as I know, the only thing that we really have at stake in selling CBD products anywhere in the country is that those products could get seized if the right or wrong agency was to decide that they didn't want you to have them. I hope that's helpful. And
I know there was a few things that were just recently come about, and I'm like thinking, with the clients I have, like he's going to put another 100 order, with his sublingual. She's like, you know what, Karen, this stuff is great.
Yeah.
Like, and people are loving it. And I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to go ahead, and I just think, you said we're not going to claim anything.
Right.
We're not going to guarantee anything. That's what they want to do, and they want to get it out. And okay, thank you.
Yep. I think technically speaking, I'm taking the largest risk of anybody, and I have the most to lose, and I'm willing to do that because I think that this is worthy, and I think that ultimately we're gonna overcome that, and I think that at one point we're not going to have to worry about this, but we're not there yet. All right, we're about halfway through our 30 minutes. Who else has a question? Nobody? Okay, well, I'm going to just start talking about some of the new things that are happening. And if you have a question, please jump in. So with regards to the newsletters, I really wanted to create a place where I could reach out and everybody that was interested would have access to that information. And to some degree I have, but my goal was to, have at least an 85% or 95% open rate, which is ridiculous, I know, but I wanted the list to only reflect that. I've failed miserably at that. And so what I've decided to do, I'm going to continue putting out a monthly newsletter to the whole list. I'm not going to pull people off the list anymore. To anybody I did pull off, I just had to do it because I was trying to build a list that was accurate. But I'm just going to do once a month to the general list. And then I've broken up into a number of smaller, more narrow lists, and I'll be communicating more directly to specific groups of people. And those groups of people include members of the Human Solution, and that is active paid memberships only. And I'm going to have certain specials and benefits of supporting the nonprofit. Then there's white label clients. There's things that only apply to you. And so those items are going to be just included in that particular category. I've got a category for the OGs. That's all the people that helped me get this company up and off the ground. And up until about 6 months ago, or even a year ago, the reps that have stood by me and helped me, bring this company to life, they're going to be grandfathered into all of the benefits that are going to be more bulk oriented in the future. You guys helped me get there. I remember that 100% and value that. And so you're always going to get that special pricing and some specific benefits just for being around from the beginning. There's a category that I'm calling the newbies. We have a lot of new people reaching out, wanting to be reps. So there's going to be a category just for you guys. Affiliates, people that have storefronts or retail sites or both. There's a category for you guys. And then practitioners. I have a growing number of physicians, chiropractors, acupuncturists, massage therapists, all different types of health practitioners. There's going to be a field just for you guys. And then finally, I decided the only way that I can make this 95% rate happen is I'm going to have an A-team list. And that list will put one episode out pretty broadly, but that's the one that everybody has to open and participate in, or it just you won't be on it next time. And that's the key. That's the core. I only have 24 hours in every day and two hands. And I give away a lot of this time to help educate people and be there for people, but I've got to focus enough of my time on developing products and working on the logistics of this company and the growth to be able to accomplish those things. And the only way I can do it is if my time has become valuable enough. And so that's what I'm doing. And I hope everybody understands and embraces it. It's here to help you. It's here to help all of us. And that's the only possible reason I have for putting all that amount of time into it. The next thing is the new site that you guys have received in September's newsletter, or two newsletters came out. This is the old wholesale site that we had from the beginning. And if you were ever logged into it before, you could still have access to log into it. Many of you never seen the site before because you're newer onto the scene than that site warranted. So if you go back and you check your September newsletter that was just sent out a few days ago, there were two newsletters, one that talks about the site and the other one that addresses it as well. And get me the appropriate username, password information I'm looking for. I will put you into that. What that means is that you will be able to order directly from the site, or you can use the order form. There were enough people that struggled with the order form in one way, shape, or form, and we've gone through I don't know how many revisions trying to make it user-friendly for everybody, and most of you are doing great. but some of you are still struggling. So I decided that wholesale website also acts pretty well as an app on a phone, and I've been working with it on both Medium, making sure that you can see everything through a phone, and you can order items directly. Now, we had to order an SSL certificate, so right now I'm not able to process a credit card payment directly through the site, but once the SSL certificate comes in, we'll be able to. But you can place an order through the wholesale site, and then I'll get back to you with that order and figure out payment on it. And there's actually 3 tiers of pricing on this. So we have 3 tiers of pricing on these products. The first is wholesale, and wholesale is created as 50% of retail. And I'm just going to use an example of, say, our CBD buttercream, which is it's an example of most of our products. Those products retail at approximately $30 in a store, and that's a really good price in comparison to similar products. So the wholesale price of that is $15. And most of you are getting what I call bulk wholesale pricing. That is where the grandfather comes in, because the bulk wholesale pricing was always intended to be orders of 100 units or more. When we first got started, I just gave everybody beyond the benefit of the doubt, and I just assumed everybody was going to step up and be able to get to that tier pretty quickly. That'd be 25 units a week to get that in a month, which to me is not that much. But the people that have been around from the beginning, and I'm going back probably 6 months, maybe even 12 months. If you've been around for longer than that, for longer than 6 months, you're guaranteed to keep that bulk pricing that you're at. So the wholesale price of everybody that's come in new, and you're not ordering more than 100 units a month, is going to be 50% of wholesale. So what would sell in the store for 30, you'll have access to at 15, which means you can double your money, or you can sell it, in whatever way you need to see fit. But there's room for you to make money with it. If you're buying 100 units or more, and I'm carrying that across a month period of time, then you qualify for the tier that most of you. Please mute your phone. Whoever's not got their phone muted, it carries across the conversation. And so for everybody else and all the new people coming aboard, you're going to be entered in on the wholesale line, which is 50% of retail. And then if you get up to the 100 unit a month threshold, you'll drop into the bulk wholesale tier. The bulk wholesale tier is where most people are at right now. That is where $10 is what you're paying for an item that would retail for $30. So you now are paying a third of retail. That is, I believe, plenty of room for most people to go to a store and sell it and still make money. There's ways for you to now have multiple ways of distributing these products. And then if you're selling 500 units a month or more, that tier goes down by 20% of that. So you would now be spending $8 on a unit. And the idea really is that an order would be required to make that 8 number. If you collectively get 500 units in a month and come to me and say, hey, do I qualify for that 8 price at the end of the month of doing it? I'm not going to give a refund back. If you're able to go back to the next month and do it, and we talk about it, and you say, yeah, I'm on this plane, I'm going to be able to manage that, then we'll put you into the next tier. My goal isn't to keep you from it, but that at that tier, we're making our cost of goods is pretty close to the margin. We don't have a lot of room after that point. So that 500 unit number becomes very important to our ability to do it. So for everybody who is at that distributor line right now, it will be imperative that you make those numbers in the next coming months. Otherwise, we'll have to change the terms, because the terms were always built on that being the case. And I've given my distributors an ample time to get their numbers up, and I think it's not a problem to happen, but I'll be more conscious of that as we're moving forward. Those are the primary changes that we've been making, and we're growing into that right now. I've got about 5 minutes left. Does anybody have questions about what I've just said? Okay, any general questions? All right, any comments? This is easy.
Hi, this is Karen.
Hold on, one at a time here. Karen first.
Oh, okay, thank you. I just had a question regarding when I had gone onto the website where it shows, for example, the ingredient list. I sent an email regarding. I love that access that we have there, so we can forward it over to the client so they can see the ingredients. And on the search bar, I didn't know if it was possible, but in order to find a product, you have to scroll down to find that product. Was there any way to type in, like let's say, for example, we want to do a cooling salve. So we could type in cool salve, and it automatically would bring up to that product, so we can see the ingredients as opposed to going down the whole list.
I don't know. What we did was we created a PowerPoint. So for everybody that's been following along through the newsletters, you've got access to those documents. There's a PowerPoint that's a training PowerPoint that goes through the specs of all the products, and there's another PowerPoint that is an ingredient list. And we spent a lot of time and effort to create that. And I don't know much about those documents, if there's a way to make it searchable or not. My guess is there's always a way to improve on what we're doing. I'm trying to get the infrastructure built so that everything is current. We're updating all of our printed materials right now to reflect all the new products, and trying to get all of this under current information, like the 3-tiered pricing sheets. Imagine the volume of work involved in now taking the pricing sheet and making sure that there's 3 versions of it, and then building a whole separate site that has all of the material set at 3 different pricing tiers. We put hundreds of hours into the last several months of creating all this information. So we could definitely put that on a wish list, but we got to finish up what we started first before that becomes a reality. And if somebody has the ability to do that, let me know, and I'll give it to you as a job. But I don't currently know if that's a possibility. I think Lisa, who built that document, said the way it's built right now, there's not. But my guess is there is a way to do it. And who else just popped in?
I was just Dana saying, that this is all great and everything's good.
Okay, excellent, Dana. Anybody else? Of course, everybody's popping on the live feed right here at the last minute of the thing. I don't know. I guess if you watch the live feed, you're watching it live. But when I close it out, you can watch it from the beginning. Anyways, anybody who say again?
This is live. Also, you're doing it on the video as well.
Yes, there's a YouTube stream of this. All it is of me talking, and then the phone is there.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So, and I'm getting a request for Chocolate Dragon truffle pictures. You need to reach out to Bo, the Chocolate Dragon woman who makes those products. She's an affiliate. I work with her, but I don't have any control over her media stuff. But if you request it, I'm sure she'll send it to you. And I think her information's all on the order form for Chocolate Dragon. All right, we're down into the last minute. Anybody else have questions or comments or suggestions or thoughts?
Dear Joe, Connie.
All right, Connie first.
Hi, Lexi. Oh, okay. Just a quick question.
Sure.
Can you give us just a quick update of what like the Nano is?
Oh, absolutely.
The
Yeah.
benefit of Nano?
And I will be doing more videos. I've just been really tied up in infrastructure stuff. I'm about to go set up a licensed lab, which is going to open up doors for the California market in the future, which is taking a lot of energy. But so the nanotechnology is what nano means is very, very small. And very, very small means increased bioavailability. So a nanoparticle is up to 100 nanometer particle size. And above that is not considered nano. So the nano material that I'm working with is averaging about 30 nanometers in particle size, which is a third of the requirement, which means it's very, very small and very, very bioavailable. So picture that you have cells floating around your body, and those cells have a membrane, which is a physical barrier that keeps things in and keeps things out. And these molecules are so small that they allow these very small oil particles to get through a cell membrane, so it will increase the availability to it. So for penetrating through the skin, it will increase the penetration. And when you're taking it orally, the same thing. It just is much more bioavailability. So less milligrams is going to give you more absorption. And a lot of compounds are wasted, meaning even vitamin supplements, minerals, all kinds of nutritional particles your body passes through in the form of waste. Your urine and your feces are just full of stuff that you didn't absorb. And the same thing goes through with cannabinoids. Your body can only absorb so many of them at a time. So many of these people are asking for, give me the strongest you got. And they want, 2,000 milligrams in a little bottle. But the truth is, if you take 100 milligrams of CBD, you're only going to absorb some smaller amount of it. But when you're taking it in nano, you can take much smaller doses and get a lot more absorption from it. And that's the whole idea of nano. They're using nanoparticles.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, they're using nanoparticles in high-end anti-aging products. They're using nanoparticles in vitamins. They call them liposome, which is like vitamin C, vitamin E, hyaluronic acid, all kinds of different compounds. They're also using it in cancer drugs and all kinds of things. So it's cutting edge, and I'm working with a doctor, a PhD, who creates the particles for me out of our oils that we work with, and I'm literally working with cutting edge technology with this. So it's real good stuff.
That's super cool. Increased bioavailability just gave me the whole answer. Now I get it.
Good.
And appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Of course. Somebody else popped in right with Connie.
Yeah, it was Alexi, and I just wanted to say how much I appreciate, and I'm sure all of us do, and acknowledge you for all the work that you're doing to help our job be that much easier. So thanks a bunch.
Well, I appreciate that, but anybody who knows me knows I'm not doing it for accolades. I'm doing it for effectiveness. I want you guys to be successful, and I want to give you every tool that you can have to be successful, because when you're successful, I'm successful. And anybody who knows me knows that I'm not doing this just to make a bunch of money, although that doesn't hurt. I'm doing this to make a difference in the world. And the people that are coming back to me with all the testimonials and all the differences, we're making the world a better place. And it's helping and healing. And you're part of something much bigger than just a regular company when you're part of this company.
Agreed.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right, we're down at 35 minutes. Anybody? Last call.
Have a good day, Joe.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe.
You bet. We'll do this again in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
All right. Thanks, everybody. All right, there it is. Number 2, just about on time. Thank y'all.